Real quick.
Okay.
Everything's going well. Are you on the West Coast?
No, I'm in Montreal, Canada.
Oh wow. So
Yeah, you?
I'm actually in Philadelphia.
Nice.
What's it like working for a team based out of Hong Kong while you're in Montreal?
Yeah, Shanghai, and it's tough. It's after 3 years or nearly 3 years, it's pretty. It has its. I guess I was ready for COVID and distributed work and all that completely, but yeah, it's good. But sometimes you wish you could be there with them.
Yeah, I'm sure it has a lot of interesting implications. But so my newsletter is targeted for
Yeah.
beginners. So why don't we start like I guess with explaining like what loopring is and why is it necessary?
Okay, sure. So right to it. I like it.
Yeah, I don't want to use too much of your time here. I know
Yeah,
you're probably busy.
yeah. That's fine. I have time for a Loopring fan or anybody helping to spread the word and educate. Um, so Loopring is a scaling solution for Ethereum. It's what's called a layer two scaling solution, and specifically the flavor of layer two is a ZK rollup, zero knowledge rollup, or a validity proof rollup. So we seek, and we do currently allow, and for the last 9 months have allowed people to transact on Ethereum, or on Ethereum with on a layer just above Ethereum, without sacrificing any of the properties, that the self-custodial security guarantees and the all the benefits of Ethereum itself. We allow to transact on a high speed or a high throughput, low cost layer without detaching yourself from Ethereum. So we hope to, as we see today, Ethereum is too popular for its own good, you could
Yeah.
say, with absurd gas fees. We want to allow people to continue to use Ethereum, not be priced out by $20 fees to send a transaction or $100 to do a trade. We want them to be able to use Ethereum for, specifically at this point, for trading and transferring tokens. Those are the only actions that we could support. We cannot support arbitrary computation and anything that you could imagine on Ethereum. We can only support trading and transfers, but we could do that in the most secure way and in a very scalable way, about 1,000 times more transactions per second than layer one, and nearly 1,000 times cheaper in terms of the fees that it would cost. So
Yeah.
yeah, scale Ethereum in the most secure way.
That's I mean, I use Uniswap a lot, so I've been getting slammed with like $30 fees and every time I'm trying to make a trade. So and I'm sure there's a lot of new people that are out there and they're trying to like, they get involved in the space and they can see that making one transaction costs all this money. It's probably turning new people away to some degree.
Right. For sure. It's actually, I find it sad, honestly, is the word. Like, not in a sad, like, oh, we're Ethereum community, we're failing to say what we've solving what we find important, but just sad that I hate that some users are being turned away, that they're saying, oh, what the heck is this? Maybe they get turned
Exactly.
on to a different blockchain with that's faster and more scalable, but it's just like 4 nodes
Yeah.
in two people's apartments. But yeah.
People always try to claim these other chains are so much faster, but in reality, it's just because they have no traffic. But one of the things I see you mention a lot is that the flavor you guys chose is ZK rollup. So why did you choose ZK, and like what are the other options? And is there any trade-offs between them?
Right. Yeah. So I have been saying that a lot. You're right. Thanks for paying attention. Yeah. So of all the flavors, or of the spectrum of layer two Ethereum scaling, ZK rollups are the right most extreme, or on the x-axis of better, compromising Ethereum's self-custodial security guarantees, and just that the complete decentralization and reliance only on Ethereum nodes for a state of the world. And on the other end of the spectrum, you have I guess, a mix of flexibility and more scalability, being able to go incrementally faster or cheaper, or being able to do things more flexibly, not just certain actions. So ZK rollups are really good at doing some things very scalably without sacrificing security. If you want to go a bit faster and a bit cheaper and a bit more generalized to be able to support generalized computation, you're going to have to go the other end of the spectrum for now, because ZK is a bit, in all its strength and all of its Ethereum security that it inherits, it's a bit less flexible and yeah, it carries a bit greater baggage in terms of scalability.
When you talk about the other end of the spectrum, are you talking about, I think it's called optimization and plasma? Are those the other two flavors? Do I have that correct?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's even more flavors. There's, like there's state channels, plasma, side chains. I mean, that's kind of, some of these categories mix. But yeah, what you're thinking of is optimistic rollup, which is correct. That is closer to the other end of the spectrum. I wouldn't put that completely at the other end. The other end is like a side chain, maybe like a plasma chain or a side chain that has its own set of validators. So it's like when you go to that world, like that layer, you're no longer completely coupled to Ethereum in terms of consensus mechanism and state transitions. You're kind of introducing some new assumptions, a new set of validators or network participants that is an additional layer you have to be comfortable with besides Ethereum. ZK rollups, sometimes I like to call them, as you may have heard, layer 1.5, because we're not separating so far from Ethereum as the other layer 2s. We're really kind of staying with like 1 foot on Ethereum kind of at all times. So layer 1.5 is how we like to describe it.
Okay. What would Ethereum layer 2 look like for you guys? Because I know people they have optimistic hopes that it's coming soon. Is there still a place for Loopring when Ethereum 2.0 comes out?
When Ethereum 2.0 comes out, yes, absolutely. It's a good question. Some people often say, does that solve all of our problems and we never have to scale at layer 2? But really the accepted fact is that Ethereum must scale at the base layer and at layer 2. So like layer 1 or layer 0, depending how you want to call Ethereum, must scale, and it will with 2.0 and sharded proof of stake and all that. But we're still going to need these extra layers on top of a more scalable base layer to bring on the entire world. So, and indeed, the scaling effect is multiplicative. Like more shards and a better base layer means rollups, more rollups, more room for them to run, and there's going to be a whole universe of layer 2s.
Everything's just kind of helping each other out, and it's kind of like a constructive friendship in a way, a relationship, I guess you could say.
Definitely.
I noticed you guys call yourself a protocol, and I feel like you choose that word specifically. Is there a reason for that? Like, because now you have your exchange, and is the exchange Loopring, or is there something more, like the whole protocol?
Yeah, really good question, actually. So Loopring is a protocol. It still is. We do operate products, which is relatively new. So maybe it's helpful to just look at our history very briefly. A bit more than 3 years ago, Loopring started as a DEX protocol. So purely a protocol, and we weren't doing this ZK rollup fancy stuff back then. We were just like a hybrid on-chain, off-chain DEX protocol. We were like that for a year and a half. A year and a half ago, we started looking into scalability, really focused on ZK rollups. And then in December of 2019, we introduced the first ZK rollup on Ethereum. So it's been running for 9 months, which is kind of crazy to think about, because now really L2 is like top of mind these past few months. But yeah, we've been there since the end of 2019. And then early 2020, we said, let's move up the stack and build some products atop of the open source protocol. So now we do operate the Loopring exchange, like loopring.io, which is an exchange and payment application built on the Loopring protocol. But protocol is still absolutely fitting, because the Loopring protocol is the Loopring protocol, a set of open source smart contracts and open source zero knowledge circuits. Those are kind of like the equivalent of smart contracts, just like programs but written in, but off chain and written in these like arithmetic circuits and, stuff that's beyond my head, but it's another sort of program that the ZK construction requires, but that's open source. Anybody could use it to build something. They could audit it themselves. It's fully transparent. So the protocol is there, but now we indeed do operate products, which is very exciting as well, and lets us kind of dog food it and use our own protocol. Yeah.
You guys have a lot going on. I know you probably can't say these things openly, but given the gas fees and stuff, have you seen more interest in people building using your protocol?
Yeah, no, for sure. I could say, I think perfectly openly, definitely more interest. All of a sudden, Loopring is pretty cool. People like it, and we're definitely getting more recognition, which is really appreciated and nice to see. Our whole team loves it. I kind of I see it every day these days, and it's so nice to see. But our team is mostly engineers, so it's really nice for them to see their hard work of 3 years paying off, and layer
Finally
two,
getting some recognition.
Exactly. So that does translate into other builders and developers projects coming inbound versus us going. I used to spend a lot of time kind of going outbound saying, hey, we could do some really cool stuff. Look what we could do. But now it's a lot more, people knowing who we are. So it's definitely increased. The truth is, though, we have, as you likely know, a huge protocol upgrade coming out. Version 3.6, we call it. It's our first upgrade since we first deployed the ZK rollup in December. And it is a huge improvement in usability and flexibility and efficiency. Like across the board, it's a huge step up. So while there's a lot of people that want to build right now because it's critical and their users cannot use their products on Ethereum layer 1, we kind of wish for them to drag their feet a bit and wait like 1 or 2 or 3 more months to build on version 3.6, because it'll just be much easier for them and cheaper for their users. So there's a lot of interest. There are people building on it right now, but at the same time, we are okay with a Q4 kind of heavier effort in that direction.
I'm most excited for, 3.6 is great. I'm most excited for the mobile wallet. And I think you guys have that coming soon too, right?
Right. It's great to talk with somebody that knows everything we're doing.
I've been looking forward to it a lot for a long time because I'm like 99% of my trading is actually on my phone, which is pretty ridiculous.
Wow. Interesting. I don't know that many people in your bucket of users. So that's really cool. And indeed, that's our thinking. So just to explain it a bit, the same way we operate loopring.io right now, we want to, like, loopring.io is not mobile friendly, as you likely know, which is kind of crazy. People say, what the heck? So the reason why we're not making this web app mobile friendly is because we're building actually our own native smart contract wallet with the Loopring DEX built in, with Loopring Pay, or like the ability to transfer ERC20s, completely free. So all that being distilled into a mobile smart contract wallet. So that is a huge thing for us. Those are, like we just described, the two big things: the protocol upgrade with version 3.6 plus the Loopring mobile wallet on the product front equals, to me, a very consumer friendly, like mass friendly Ethereum product, something that people could have in their pocket and use Ethereum without going broke, paying gas fees. It could be abstracted, right? It could look like a fintech app where everything is instantaneous, apparently, and not charging them a fee for every little thing, right? It's all abstracted. So yeah, the wallet is a huge thing. I must say, Matt, like I'm using it on my phone for the past little bit, and it's really awesome.
Lucky
but
you.
It's not fully polished yet. So that's why we're not. Yeah. It's really cool. I'm excited for you to use it, but a little bit more time, hopefully a few more weeks until like a beta group could form.
Yeah, for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys, when 3.6 comes out, are you going to have the ability to make the automated market maker as well, or is that later down the line? Because there's kind of like, for the new people, they might not know, but there's kind of like two types of exchanges kind of in what's going on now. You have things like Uniswap where there's liquidity pools just sitting there, and then you have the normal order book exchange.
Right. Do you want me to dive into the differences there, or is that
No, it's okay. I
no?
can do
Okay,
that myself. I'm just wondering
right.
when your guys' capabilities for the AMM will be about.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was our most recent um, big announcement, was saying that within so 3.6 was supposed to already be in audits. It was code complete, but then we said, let's really try to get AMM functionality on the ZK rollup. So again, so for the listeners, we only supported and do only support right now order book exchanges. So like the Binance feeling or Coinbase Pro order book trading, not the Uniswap where people just dump equal parts assets into a pool and people could, take what they wish from that pool along some pre-specified function. That has not been, that AMM, automated market maker, has not been able to get on layer 2 until we just said we're going to add that to version 3.6. So yes, it will be, when version 3.6 is live, AMM support will be there. People will be able to create AMM pools on layer 1 that with the trade settling on layer 2. So instantly and gas free in the layer 2 settlement side, but the pools will live on layer 1, and yeah, that'll be supported.
Man, 3.6 is
before 2021, again Q4.
3.6 is packing up a punch. I feel like you guys have a lot going on right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, sorry, my internet connection here is a little choppy, but you guys got on Coinbase Pro yesterday, right? Congratulations on that. I think that happened, right?
Yeah, sorry, there definitely is a bit of a lag. I'm not sure if it's your internet or mine, but it's fine. Yeah, LRC is on Coinbase and Coinbase Pro. Really cool to see. That's just another little, recognition out there. Obviously, it's a massive exchange and very retail friendly. So, a nice little, accomplishment.
A little extra little kick. I feel like you guys are kind of having your coming out party almost. Like everyone's starting to learn about Loopring and what you offer, and hopefully that leads to developers and engineers coming in and saying, let's use this stuff.
Right. I do have that sense as well. Thank you for saying that. I do think so. Thanks.
It's like just the fact, I got into crypto in 2017, and I remember hearing Loopring. I don't know when I first heard about it, but it was a long time ago. And just the fact that you guys are still around and still building, that alone is proves the competency, because things come and go by the day here. So when you still see a coin that's not only still around, but succeeding and still making waves, it's it's kind of rare, to be honest.
It's true. It's true. We're not alone coming from that era and being here and doing great things. There's so many people in our class or our graduating class or however you want to say it there. And it's true. Honestly, half of the value of a project or it should be just is the team still working around and making important improvements? That's definitely a thing to cherish in a project.
For sure. One last thing I wanted to ask, you guys have the ZK rollup. One of the trade-offs, I believe, is that when you're using it, you have to fill it up. So if you have to send it through and you don't have maximum transaction, doesn't that add some type of cost or something? So it needs to be full for maximum effectiveness. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. I guess we didn't really describe how a ZK rollup scales, but that's exactly right. Basically, we have this off-chain world that an Ethereum account is kind of mapped to there, and then a whole bunch of things happen in this off-chain data structure. It's a Merkle tree, but just an off-chain database. And then we're kind of waiting to fill up a plane or a bus from here. So we're trying to fill up our biggest plane size is 4,096 seats. We're trying to fill that up before we first of all, it gets compressed, it becomes minimized thing with a shrink ray, or think of it like that, it becomes compressed. So there's just a little thumbprint of all those 4,000 things and some cryptographic proof that everything that happened over here in this off-chain world happened in a verifiable way and in a correct way according to protocol rules. And then it's okay, the plane is taking off, so we're about to burn a whole bunch of jet fuel, to land back on Ethereum. If there's only 4 people on the plane, we're not happy because we have a big fixed overhead cost that we did not amortize over enough people, enough transactions. So that's why, especially in times of very high gas fees, when Gwei is $700, when gas prices are 700 Gwei, that's like us having to buy jet fuel at like top market. We cannot take off the plane with just a few people. We need a bigger batch. So that's why you see us keep using that language. And unfortunately, yeah, sometimes it's several hours. People are waiting on that plane, waiting for people to come back to layer one. To be clear, when you're doing things on that, like in that environment, it's instant and it's free. It's only when you have to go back to Ethereum, withdrawals, is that taking long. But again, version 3.6 solves that in a huge way by allowing not just like the plane to be filled with travelers going to one destination, but it's almost like any destination could get on board. It's like a magic plane that like drops people wherever they need to go. So it's like we could sell more generalized tickets on that plane, not just like people going to whatever, St. Louis or something.
That's great. So in that sense, it's like the more Loopring grows, the better the performance in some ways.
Very true. Up to a certain point. Definitely we have a long way to go. And every increment, more activity actually means cheaper per transaction cost until we're going to hit that ceiling, and then it's going to be flat. Yeah.
What is, I can't remember if it was the Bitcoin maxis or somebody else, but I know there was a certain community of people that were totally against the idea of side chains. And I don't exactly know why, but like, do you happen to know what the argument would be against, the people that say side chains are no?
Yeah, maybe I'll even join that maxi rhetoric right now, because sidechains, I mean, again, different flavors of sidechains. Technically, a ZK rollup is a sidechain, meaning it's this thing that's on the side that is producing its own blocks and progressing its state. But in our case, I would take like offense, or I would take just a point of contention, saying like Loopring is not a sidechain, period. It is a cryptographically verified sidechain with its data being stored on Ethereum. So like in the nuance is all the difference. If you just have a sidechain where Matt and Matt are the two node runners, and that is the sidechain, that's crap, right? Like the maxis are right. Like you could say, oh, we're an Ethereum sidechain, come to Matt and Matt, we're the validators and like the consensus, we form consensus. That is not good. A ZK rollup does not do that. It's this other state of the world, this other chain that is progressing, but each block is being verified with proven cryptography, like zero knowledge proofs, a branch of cryptography from the 1980s. So we're not relying on math and math to govern the sidechain. We're relying on math. I didn't mean for this to all be like all about math and math, but we're relying on like mathematics plus Ethereum. No other assumptions that you have to be comfortable with. No other node runners. No other. But again, so there are flavors of sidechains that I would be like, yeah, that's not very great. Those aren't the properties that we care about, right? So yeah.
You guys have built it in a way that you're comfortable with. And I guess the one question that I know you answer this a lot, but I feel like it's important to get out there is, if someone is on this side chain and they wake up and the whole engineering team and everyone's just gone, they just walked away, it's still possible to retrieve your funds. It's not like everything is just out of there.
Exactly. That's why I wouldn't say, hey, Loopring is a side chain, because language is actually important. And then people could think, oh, it's like this other side chain that I heard of, which what you just said wouldn't be true of. In a ZK rollups case, yes, all that needs to exist for a user in the worst case scenario where Loopring turns evil or disappears or whatever, got natural disaster, like whatever, if Loopring is no longer there, if Ethereum exists, users of the Loopring ZK rollup could retrieve their funds always. No questions asked. They are able to assert, hey, Ethereum, those are my assets in that deposit contract that were on the rollup, give them back to me and only me, nobody else could take them. That is the promise of a ZK rollup. That's why we're not willing to compromise and do one of the other flavors. If I'm not able to say that to you, that only Ethereum needs exist, then we're not comfortable with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like, I feel like that's crucial, because if you don't have that capability, then there's always going to be the critics out there that are constantly saying, you know.
Sure. And, to be fair, for other use cases, less strict scaling solutions or less secure ones could be used, right? If you're just doing like a little trading game where it needs to be very fast and there's no value on there, go ahead. Like, all scaling solutions may have a fit, but if we want there to be $20 billion on Loopring and people trusting it with the same level that they trust Ethereum, you need a ZK rollup for that.
Okay. I think that's about it, man. Honestly, that was really good. And we got a lot in there. And I think about 20-25 minutes.
Yeah, you're really good because you knew everything. So thanks for
Yeah,
asking the good stuff.
I learned about Loopring a little while ago, and then I finally started digging into it like a couple months ago, and it's just like, I've just been waiting for all these things. So it was cool to talk to you, and I appreciate you giving me your time.
Absolutely. I appreciate the interest and you being a supporter. So thank you.
For sure, man. And best of luck with everything.
You too. Thank you.